Charli XCX, Dan here from 5FM in South Africa. So delighted to welcome you back onto South African airwaves, and personally so delighted because I vividly remember the moment when I listened to Pop 2 for the first time. I was on a bus on the way from university to my first radio show, and it changed my conception of what I thought pop music could be. So I'm going to try not to superfan too hard, but thank you so much for your time. I just feel so happy to be here.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you for that story. That's really sweet.
It's really, really wonderful. So you've done so much since COVID. I firstly want to congratulate you for How I'm Feeling Now, which I think is an amazing album. But now you've got two new singles that have come out in the last 2 months. Out first with Saweetie, Joel Corey and Jax Jones. And I really, really love that record. And it seems like you've got incredible reception. Are you pleased with the response?
Running out of time. If we're going out for the night, I'ma meet you down on the floor. Oh, tell me when you're out for the night. We can get it started, let's go.
Yeah, it was fun to do that record with those guys. Like, I've always wanted to work with Saweetie, and the guys were just so easy to collaborate with. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to get in the same room together. We really created that song over text, which is cool. But yeah, it's fun, and I've seen videos of people really going off to it, so I can't wait to play it live myself.
And that's what I think is so exciting, because I realized the other day that we've never ever got a chance to dance to WAP yet, at least in South Africa. It's like we've got this enormous list of dance tracks we need to get to when we can go back to clubs.
Yeah, wow, that's such a good point. I didn't think about that. We all need to dance to WAP, that's for sure.
It's very, very, very cool. And what I really, really loved also about Out is that, if I understand correctly, you guys used the sample from Stromae's Alone Dance, which is another one of my favorite records. Was it really, really cool to kind of reinvent that song, which honestly is hectically depressing if you can speak French?
Right, I know, yeah. It was really cool. I mean, I love Stromae. I love that song, and he had an album that I used to listen to so much when I was younger. I've always thought he was so cool. So yeah, to be allowed to kind of flip that song was really cool, and I'm honored.
And you did it in a really special way too. Like the chorus line of Stromae's Alone Dance is "So we just dance," and then your line was "So watch me dance," which was dope. I really appreciated that. Cool. So now you've got a brand new record out that I think was released 2 weeks ago, and I'm a huge fan of it. Can you tell me about the creative process that went into that?
Yeah, so I made that song with Oscar Holter, who I've also collaborated with before on my song called 1999 with Troye Sivan. And I love Oscar because he's kind of the king of the 80s sound right now. Okay. He's been doing a lot of stuff with The Weeknd and other people. And the album as a whole is definitely very 80s leaning. So I knew I wanted to work with him on this. The song itself is kind of about running towards danger, maybe leaving behind the things that are good for you and pure and safe, and running towards the fire, which I think everybody's been guilty of. So yeah, it's a little dark, but I think that's kind of just the zone that I'm in right now, and hence the funeral themed music video, I suppose.
No other kisses unless they're bitter. I'm hot and touches that leave me weaker. I swear that I love nothing more than broke. I always hit the good when it's cold.
It was a really, really excellent music video. So the record's called Good Ones, and you literally say that you are far more prone to throwing away the good ones and embracing the bad ones, which sounds dark, but it is also deeply relatable, which I guess what pop music is about.
Yeah, I think everyone's been there, whether it's with a person or a thing. I think it just happens.
And you're a really, really great songwriter. I think that's something that a lot of people don't know about all of their favorite musicians, is that it often doesn't occur to them who wrote the lyrics. I remember I think you co-wrote that incredible record with Iconopop that came out a long time ago.
I did.
When you want to just take a bridge and let it burn, or something like that. Something very dramatic.
Yeah, I crashed my car into a bridge. I don't care. Let it burn.
I love it.
Thank you.
Do you often write very, very directly from your own lived experience? Do you find that a very good resource?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the way that I write is very spontaneous. I try not to think too much about what I'm trying to say. I try to just let things flow out of my mouth and kind of make sense of them after. So for example, I love it, the song you were just referencing. I actually had no idea what that song was about. I just thought it was like complete gibberish. And then when I listened back to it, I was like, oh yeah, this is like about a breakup. Now I kind of understand. So yeah, I like to just flow, you know, really just like let things out and then allow for interpretation and figure it out later.
Amazing. Well, listen, if anybody for some bizarre reason doesn't love your music or your creative talents on music videos or your social media, you've now also got a podcast called Charli XCX's Best Song Ever. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, the podcast is basically about finding the best songs ever. And you know, I always get asked, what's the best song ever? That's a question I get asked a lot. What's your favorite song? And I find it impossible to just name one. I think there's a great song for every different mood and emotion and life situation. So essentially the podcast, you know, it's like me and guests talking about their best songs ever, the best song to cry in the shower to, the best song to play at your funeral, the best song to play at the peak of a party. And it's been really cool to get to know all the guests better and discover new music. And we've had amazing guests from Mark Ronson to Alison Rae, Christine and the Queens, so many great people. So it's been really cool to be doing that as well.
Well, I think 1 minute left on this interview. So Charli, I just want to thank you so much for the music as always. And as I said, it's been deeply meaningful to me. And now with great joy, I can say that I'm on a national music radio station playing your music every single morning. And that's really delightful. And I'm just really, really happy that you're making such wonderful music for me to play for money.
Thank you so much. That's really kind of you. And thanks for having me and talking to me.
5FM, bringing the power to you.